Welcome to the Road Safety Authority's Learning to Drive videos. This video will outline the roles and responsibilities you have as a learner driver. When people first begin the learning to drive process, the focus can often be on passing the driving test itself. But learning to drive is not just about doing your driving test. That comes later. Learning is just the first step in developing good, safe, lifelong driving habits. It is important to remember that you have responsibilities as a learner driver, one of which is to get the most out of learning to drive. Your role in the learning to drive process is as important as that of your approved driving instructor, known as an ADI, and your sponsor. Therefore, it is important that you all work together so that you can become a safe and socially responsible driver. Engage in the process, prepare for each lesson or practice session, and analyse your progress to make sure you are progressing at a suitable pace for you. Everyone is different and will need slightly different training plans. Your ADI will develop a plan to suit your own work or study timetable and individual learning style. The training plan will include lesson plans, which should each reflect the stage which you are at for each lesson. Talk to your ADI about these plans, ask to see them and discuss the details with them so you both know where you are against your training plan at all times. First, let's look at your role in the learning to drive process. As a learner driver, your aim should be to develop the skills and habits required to be a lifelong safe, socially responsible and competent driver. It is important that you understand what you need to do in order to achieve this. The first step is to choose an ADI. The ADI is the person chosen by you to bring you through the formal learning to drive process, including the Essential Driver Training Programme known as EDT. To do this, you can check the register of approved driving instructors in your area on rsa.ie. There is no set charge for EDT lessons, as each ADI sets their own fees. Therefore, the RSA recommends that you ring several ADIs to inquire about their prices and to see if the ADI is right for you. Recommendations from friends and family may also prove useful in helping to make your choice. Once you have found an ADI, ask them for advice on how to prepare for your first lesson. Ask him or her to explain the entire learning to drive process, including preparation for the EDT lessons. We recommend that you read the Learner Driver Information Booklet and the Essential Driver Training Information Booklet to familiarise yourself with the entire course before you start. These are available online at rsa.ie. Before you start, be sure you understand how a typical learner driver goes through the process from start to finish. Learners need to be ready to undergo the EDT lessons, and not everyone will progress at the same pace, so be guided by your ADI as to when you are ready to start the first or take the next EDT lesson. The next thing to do is to find a sponsor. A sponsor is someone who will play an active role in your journey to become a better, safer driver. This is typically someone who is either a friend or relative who has held their full driver licence for at least 2 years and will give their own personal time to support you during the learning to drive process and practice with you in between lessons. This is an important role, so choose somebody that you feel comfortable with and who will take this role seriously. If you don't know anyone who can fill this role, you can of course use the services of an ADI if required. Your sponsor will work closely with you and your ADI to ensure you get the practice and experience necessary to prepare you for your next lesson. Therefore, it is important that you share the feedback given to you at the end of each lesson by your ADI with your sponsor. Ask your ADI to give you specific feedback that you can provide to your sponsor, as this will enable your sponsor to focus your practice on any problem areas and work with you to improve them before your next lesson. Many learner drivers find it of benefit to invite their sponsors to join them during a lesson or lesson wrap-up, where the ADI tells the learner driver what to practice and how to prepare for the next lesson. The practice sessions with your sponsor, which are held in between your lessons with your ADI, are an extremely important part of the learning to drive process. These practice sessions will give you an opportunity to build on what you have learned with your ADI and to work on areas you find challenging. As a learner driver, you must take responsibility for your progress in learning to drive. Getting a driving licence is one of life's milestones, so it shouldn't be treated lightly. Therefore, between lessons, reflect on your driving performance and progress and be honest with yourself about where you need further support or tuition. Record this in your logbook. Your ADI will give you your logbook at your first EDT lesson. Self-analysis is an important tool in the learning to drive process, and it is your responsibility to give adequate time to this. This will help you to get the best value from your driving lessons. Those who self-analyse their own performance are better prepared and achieve the most out of every lesson. Ultimately, this can save you hundreds of euros. At each lesson with your ADI, or during your practice sessions with your sponsor, make sure you take every opportunity to clarify any aspect of your driving skills, the rules of the road, or the learning to drive process that you might be unsure of. Remember that they are here to help you, and there are no stupid questions. You, your ADI, and your sponsor each have an equally important part to play in helping you have a successful and enjoyable learning to drive experience. The most important thing to remember is that this is the first step on a lifelong journey of safe, socially responsible, and enjoyable driving. For more information on learning to drive, visit rsa.ie.